What up, everybody? This is your boy Dedrian Colon from House of Wrestling. This is my review for AEW's Battle of the Belts, August 6, 2022. Like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification so that way you are notified when the House of Wrestling drops latest content. Follow me, Dedrian180, on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Man, tonight's Battle of the Belts will probably be, so far considering it's only 3, this will probably be one of, if not the best, Battle of the Belts they've had so far. This was a solid show, beginning to end. The main event was possibly, it will be up there as far as match of the month. And I know that's saying something because it is August, but man, that was a fantastic match. The women's match was solid. The opening match was solid. There wasn't anything over dramatic or anything backstage where, oh my god, this happened and they got attacked and are they going to make it to their match? Which, now that I think about it, they might actually use that in one of the Battle of the Belts going forward. But before I go into the breakdown of these matches, I'm going to give you guys the results. So the opening match, Wardlow defeated Jay Lethal. The second match, Thunder Rosa defeated Jamie Hayter. And in the main event, Claudio Castagnoli defeated Takeshita for the Ring of Honor World Championship. That was a fantastic match. Like I said, man, this was a fun show to watch. It was quick, 1 hour, but to the point. They didn't mess around. They didn't drag anything. Nothing felt rushed or like, oh, we don't have much time, so let's put this together. This was a fun match. So the first match, Jay Lethal, Wardlow. It was good to see Wardlow defend his title. If you recall my previous reviews of AEW Dynamite, I believe this past Wednesdays or last Wednesdays, I mentioned like, man, Wardlow ain't wrestling. Like, I want to see him powerbomb a symphony, man. Come on, like I want to see that. But man, he fought Jay Lethal. This was a pretty solid opening match, considering it was Battle of the Belts. It was on a Saturday. This is technically the last month of summer. It's hot as hell everywhere. But no, this was a fun match to watch and just enjoy. He got some good offense in, man. There was it started off with a distraction from Sanjay Dutt. Wardlow, at one point in the match, he did a tilt-a-whirl slam, which looked sweet. Then another point in the match, Jay Lethal did the Topa Supasea, if that's pronounced Tope Supasita. There you go, whatever that's called. Then there was another point in the match, and man, the crowd reacted, and I know many people who saw this spot reacted. The freaking headbutt that Wardlow gave to Jay Lethal. Like, that, nothing was fake about it. I know you hear that a lot about people like, oh, why do you watch that fake stuff? That headbutt that Wardlow hit on Jay Lethal, that connected. That stunned both men. And you seen it because you heard it, it's like, bah! Like, it wasn't a slap. Like, it's like some bone and skull and they collide and you seen them, like, get dazed or like that was a crazy spot. Then you had the wind-up clothesline by Wardlow, which led to the powerbomb. 1, 2, 3. He wins. Then post-match, you got Sanam Singh and Sanjay Dutt. They're attacking Wardlow. Sanam Singh is stepping on Wardlow. Sanam Singh, Wardlow has his foot and he's pushing it up and he's throwing him off, and he gets the upper hand, and then a cool spot, and you seen the fans get into it. Before he did that, he wound up kicking Sanam Singh in the nuts, which led to him just crouching over, like, oh, hurting. Wardlow, like, the attempted power bomb. People wanted to see that because they're like, dude, Sanam Singh is like 7'6", like over 3, close to 400, 3 something. 350 or something like that, maybe 400 pounds. Like, to see him power bomb Sanam Singh was like, oh, and it was like cut short. Jay Lethal, they interfered. They wound up Sanam Singh power bombing Wardlow through a table. and that went to a commercial break. It was like, oh man, I'm with the Sanam Singh, Jay Lethal, Sanjay Dutt thing. I don't know where I stand. I do think that eventually they need to separate Sanam Singh from Jay Lethal and just have him with Sanjay Dutt. I believe that will be more engaging, because when you see him on TV, you're actually like, he's freaking 7'6". You're like, okay, this dude is freaking tall and huge. But the more he's with Jay Lethal, is more like, maybe it's by design, like, protecting him and don't have him do too much, but it's just like, okay, like, eventually he's going to get involved and do some crazy stuff, like, kind of like give baby steps to it. But overall, that first match, it was fun. It was good to see Wardlow back. It was good to see him get the win. Just interested to see where he goes next. It does seem like with Sanjay Dutt and Sanam Singh and Jay Lethal, they're targeting the big guys. Samoa Joe, now Wardlow. So we'll see what happens with Wardlow. I hope it's something cool. Really interested to see who he's going to face at All Out, which is going to be pretty interesting. Then the next match, we had Jamie Hayter and Thunder Rosa. Man, I don't know if it's since Madison Rayne came aboard, but man, ever since Wednesday, Friday, and tonight, these women have been laying in some freaking forearms. Like, they are not messing around. It started off, Jamie Hayter into the ring, and then as Thunder Rosa entered the ring and she was on the top rope, she got attacked by Jamie Hayter. Toni Storm, Britt Baker, and Rebel were at ringside. So you had that whole dynamic outside while Thunder Rosa and Jamie Hayter were beating the hell out of each other. And that's an understatement. There was a point in the match where Thunder Rosa did a DDT on the outside to Jamie Hayter. Then another point in the match, Jamie Hayter did a backbreaker onto the stairs on Thunder Rosa. That, like, Jamie Hayter's backbreakers, like, it'll make you flinch. Like, I know it's kind of predetermined, but like, I don't think you can predetermine how their back goes into her knee. Like, you can't predetermine and fake that. It's just like, oh, damn. Then at another point in the match, Rosa was distracted by Britt Baker holding the title, and Jamie Hayter wound up knocking her off the top turnbuckle, and as she fell off, like, her knee kind of like got caught underneath the top turnbuckle, and like, kind of got scary. It's like, ooh man, I hope she doesn't pull her knee or tear. Like, ooh man, and she hit the floor hard. Like, that was a nasty spot. Then you had Thunder Rosa perform the Northern Light suplex. Then at another point in the match, this was a crazy, and by crazy I don't mean insane, but just the amount of intensity and just aggression into this move. So Jamie Hayter is laying on the bottom rope in the middle of the ring, she's in the middle ring, which is facing the middle rope. Okay, let me phrase that. Jamie Hayter is laying on the bottom rope that's facing the entrance. So she's laying like this on the bottom rope, and Thunder Rosa just comes running and does a freaking running drop kick, which knocks her on the outside. Like, Thunder Rosa connected, like, and by connected, like, yeah, it hit. Like, it's like, damn, this was an intense match. A lot of aggression, a lot of physicality. They did not hold back. From there, you had Toni Storm, DDT, Britt Baker. Britt Baker was trying to get involved. That led to Thunder Rosa doing almost like a Canadian Destroyer roll-up pin. Correct me if I'm wrong. Comment below what that move is and everything. But Thunder Rosa gets the win. So Thunder Rosa defeats Jamie Hayter. I like this match. This whole week, the AEW Women's Division has done a terrific job. A lot of intensity, a lot of aggression. It's not perfect, but man, is this a step in the right direction. And seeing what Madison Rayne is going to help with this women's division is going to be fun. She is going to face Jade Cargill next Wednesday on Dynamite. That should be fun. But man, Thunder Rosa, Toni Storm, Jamie Hayter, Britt Baker, Rebel. This has been a fun feud. Just look forward to more of the women's division getting added to this crazy stuff that's happening with the women's division and this change that's happening, the physicality, and hopefully next Wednesday, the Jade Cargill and Madison Rayne isn't the last match before the main event. And actually, I don't mind it being the second match on Dynamite because that just makes it even more better because the crowd is involved in it. I would like to have a women's match open a Dynamite, which, fingers crossed, it will happen one day. Then we get a rundown of Dynamite next week, and it's announced that FTR will be on Dynamite. I believe they're competing. Correct me if I'm wrong, comment below. It's going to be fun to see them. Of course, we still have to keep in mind we have the Trios tournament. Yes, the Trios tournament, which is happening. Then we get to the main event. Claudio Castagnoli versus Konosuke Takeshita. Man, oh man. Wherever Takeshita wrestles, he is drawing strong comparisons to Kazuchika Okada. And this isn't something that's overrated. Like, this is something that legit, if you watched Okada and you see Takeshita, you're like, no, this is the next, like, that's the next big, like, that's the guy. Like, that's the guy. Not for AEW, but for professional wrestling. Like, that is the guy. He is putting on some clinics, and you could tell, like, he is having fun with these matches that he's having in AEW and the wrestlers he's fighting, because it's just balls to the wall, like, physical, intense, aggressive, just not holding back anything and putting on a show. So you could say up until the middle of the point of the match, it was just back and forth, maneuver. Claudio, he's been looking fantastic since he's arrived in AEW, and the matches he's had has just been so fun to watch, and it's so much of a wrestling clinic, if you will. And I don't know, this guy, no. It's just, by wrestling clinic, you just want to sit there and just watch and absorb every move that he does and who he works with, because it's so fun to watch. It's a throwback almost to some of the stuff that we used to see back in the late 80s, early 90s with, like, the Steiner brothers and those guys, like that. It's just fun watching that, because back then there wasn't a lot of guys like that, and there's quite a few guys similar to what Cesaro does, but not exactly what Cesaro does, because Cesaro is a freaking freak of nature. So the match was pretty much back and forth. Then there was a point in the match where Takeshita did a diving over the top rope dive. Then they mentioned, which was so cool, they mentioned El Generico and Claudio, and Claudio's familiar with El Generico, and the dive. They were mentioning, like, yeah, this is something, reminiscent of El Generico, who Claudio knows very well. And it's like, yeah, we know who El Generico is. It's Sami Zayn. Like, of course he knows. He's in the WWE. Like, okay, that's cool. Then there was a point in the match where Cesaro performed a gut-wrench suplex from the top rope, which, that man is strong. Like, to have him sideways like this and just, man, dude's got so much strength, man, and it's so entertaining to see him showcase his strength. Then from there, as he finished the gut-wrench suplex, he wound up doing the Claudio swing. Man, it's gonna take me a while to do that. The Claudio swing on Takeshita, and the crowd, of course, 1, 2, 3, 4. That never gets old. Then at another point in the match, you had Takeshita do the Blue Thunder bomb. Then you had him perform a crazy turnbuckle DDT. That was It was scary, and at the same time, like, what the hell just happened? They're like, huh? Like, it was just something really crazy. He wound up doing that. Then he wound up doing, Takeshita wound up attempting a frog splash, which he kind of like, I don't want to use the term botched. Kind of came up short, but he connected. Pinfall, kicked out, Cesaro kicked out of the pinfall. Then there was a sequence of lariats, belly to the back suplexes, clotheslines by Takeshita and Cesaro, which that was insane because it was just like the more Claudio did, the more Takeshita laid in, and then vice versa. The more that Takeshita did, the more Claudio laid in. Then you had a freaking knee strike, brain buster by Takeshita. Then you had a diving uppercut from Cesaro. Then there was a point, man. This was the highlight of the match. I have to say this because this was pretty impressive. So Claudio is running off the ropes, and Takeshita's running. He's bouncing off the ropes with a running knee. And as he jumps to connect the knee, Claudio catches him and turns it into a Death Valley driver. I was like, yo, that's strength, because the guy's coming with full force. He catches him and then turns him. It was so fluid. It was so cool. Then he did the hammering elbow anvil and did the Ricola bomb. 1, 2, 3. Claudio wins. He retains the ROH World Heavyweight title. This was a fantastic match. A great showcase for Takeshita, which he's been putting on some banger matches. Like, the guy is making a name for himself, where this guy is a bona fide star on the rise. Like, he is a guy that you're like, okay, I know that guy. He's going to put on a match. It's going to be interesting to see how they utilize him going forward. Man, the guy is... That guy, I enjoy Takeshita's matches because he is solid. He is intense. He is aggressive. Him and Claudio have great chemistry. I loved his matches with Jon Moxley. I believe he fought William Yuta. Can't remember if he did. But man, he's had some solid matches. And overall, man, like I said, this show was so much fun to watch. A lot of physicality, a lot of intensity, a lot of aggression. That's something that I can say that AEW has picked up on. You could say ever since Triple H has taken over creative in WWE, like, a lot of the aggression is picked up in AEW, the intensity. But man, this was a fun match. If you haven't seen Konosuke Takeshita, if you have not seen him, Konosuke Takeshita, if you have not seen him, you need to watch his match. Go Google him. This dude is a star on the rise. But I have to put this guy over because this guy has had some great matches, and this was another great match that he had on AEW television. And where this guy will be in the next few years, he's going to be a world champion. For what promotion? It could be AEW, it could be New Japan, it could be various promotions, but man, this guy, you have to watch him. He has the look. If you're a fan of Kazuchika Okada, you're going to like this guy's stuff because he is drawing strong comparisons to Kazuchika Okada, and he has the look, he has the build, he has the skill set. He's just, of course, there's more things that he's putting together, but man, this guy is the real deal. Konosuke Takeshita, like, this dude is the real deal. I love this guy's matches. He's starting to be one of those wrestlers where when you see his name in a match, you're like, I gotta watch that match. Like, there's very few wrestlers that you're like, oh, I gotta, oh, this is gonna be a cool match. But there's those wrestlers where you're just like, no, I gotta watch that match. Like, I seen the match that guy had with this guy. That was a good, like, no, I gotta watch that match. And that's what he's building. And that's the, you could call it repertoire, and just, the connection he's building with the fans, where they're just like, nah, this guy's putting on banger matches. You got to watch this guy. He's good. I don't know. He might be holding gold next year. Definitely next year. He's holding some type of champion through gold. But that is my review for AEW's Battle of the Belts 3 on August 6th, 2022. Like, share, comment, subscribe. Hit the notifications. That way you guys are notified when House of Wrestling drops the latest content. Follow me, Dedrian180, on TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. And with that, there's a lot of fun things that are happening in pro wrestling, so there's never a day off in pro wrestling, because something, news, events, matches, something's happening, and if you're a wrestling fan, it is a fun time to be a fan. So with that, I'm out.